If you've liked video games for a while, you might have noticed that, scratch that. If you've liked anything for a while, you might have noticed how from time to time this anything or, particular kinds of anything becomes really popular, like insanely popular, cultural phenomenon kind of popular. And when that happens, people tend to obsess over it. Some other things jump on the bandwagon and join the trend, as it happened in music, in movies, in books, or, every hour in any kind of social media when some new hot meme becomes popular. And what also happens is that something vaguely related or similar, or sometimes completely unrelated, is also thrown in the same trench and then a monument is stuck on top. And only sometime later people start analyzing this anything and seeing how everyone was perceiving the thing differently, then learning that it didn't in fact appear out of nowhere and had a lot of predecessors that might have been overlooked but now fit this trend almost perfectly, and even later this whole thing might be more or less sorted out and turned into a defined genre or an event or whatever else. And what sucks is when you're experiencing it in real time and feel as if everyone is getting this wrong. I've had it happen with some of my favorite genres or trends in games. I'm a huge fan of survival horror, for example, except nowadays pretty much any horror title tends to be called survival horror, despite how different that game might be, not just from what games that solidified the name were when it was trendy, but even amongst their contemporaries that are shoved into the same genre name. In fact, in my own understanding of the classification, the only key pillar of the survival horror, of classic one, most modern games classified as such tend to have is that they are indeed horror, which is hardly important for a game genre, which is usually defined by what you do and what how do you interact with things, not what the theme of the game is. But there is no consensus, no established explanation of what this genre should actually be, so it can only remain as my pet peeve and not a good argument that someone is understanding survival horror wrong. It's just something that I find annoying, and it happened because survival horror used to be trendy during the late 90s, and a lot of other games jumped on that bandwagon. And this is what's happening right now with the so-called Souls-like games. The Dark Souls of X has long become a joke on the internet, but is a great example of either a game genre or a design philosophy that is currently in its formative years and is yet to become an accepted, clear to understand term. Just like something was a Doom clone of old, and now an FPS, or the exploration-focused platformer that seemed to accept the genre title of Metroidvania, Souls-like is used to describe a lot of things, many of which don't seem to be even remotely related, yet still are because the perception of what makes Souls-like a Souls-like or whatever ideas to be found in one is different from person to person. Some go for the exploration element, some for the type of storytelling found in those games, some focus specifically on the action mechanics, some on the RPG start systems and leveling up, some on the death mechanic. Some would describe the type of approach to game difficulty and game challenge is what defines the Souls-like, or even an approach to how a very specific area or a very specific enemy encounter are designed. And this is really frustrating when you like that something, because usually what happens is that you are known to like a particular thing, and then other people or algorithms based on people-made tags or something like that would suggest you something that is defined to be similar to what you like, except it isn't because you like the thing that you like for the different reasons than some other people like it for. There's just a period everything that becomes really huge and influential goes through. So all that's left is just trying to figure out what you like and accepting that some people might like the same thing for different reasons and dislike your reasons. And this situation is like totally the Dark Souls of living.